Hello and welcome to another Webisode. My name is Miriam and I'm here with Pastor Chris.
Hi.
And today we're going to unpack this topic of fear. And this topic is a part of a series that we're doing around mental health and some of the challenges that we face. We've previously looked at depression, stress, anxiety, and this week's topic was fear. So I'm just wanting to ask Pastor Chris, who brought a great message around this, and it's God is greater than my fear. There was a few points that we made, but I was really blessed with what Pastor Chris started with, and it was some of the responses that we have to fear. And so, Pastor Chris, you talked about the 4 responses as fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. Sure. I've heard about fight and flight, but I didn't really hear about freeze and fawn. So would you be able to explain some of those to us?
Right, I'll explain all 4 of them. The fight is when we are threatened by a danger. And when we're threatened by a danger and it produces fear in our life or in our soul, then some responses are to fight, muster up strength, usually anger, and fight. The threat may be physical or verbal, but we want to fight it. And the brain is kicked in at this point, and the brain is overriding, saying this is how we're going to deal with it. The same with flight. Flight is when we want to escape or run away or hide. I want to get away from it. Now, we know these from schoolyard days and school days and even adult life, where we try and either fight our way out or we run away. Yeah. But the ones you're talking about, freeze. Freeze is another brain response. And the brain has made a decision to channel energy, chemicals, to certain parts of the body and not others. And so when we freeze, sometimes we find I'm frozen on the spot. I can't move. And you hear people in fear, they said, I just froze. Yeah. And that's what's happened. The brain has taken over and we're frozen. It's the same with speech. Sometimes we just can't get any words out. We try because the motor skills are being overridden. So we freeze. Frozen with fear. Fawn is so it fits the F's, but fawning means to be like a little deer, be compliant, gentle. So the aggressor or the attacker or whatever our danger is, we become compliant because we think it's the way to appease the aggressor. And so by being compliant, he may not or they may not hurt us as much or it might just go away. And we're trying to reduce the fear. We're trying to reduce the danger or the harm or the risk of harm by being compliant and gentle. So those are your 4 responses.
Excellent, thanks for that. What is your response out of those 4? What is one that you're most likely to operate in?
As a kid, it would have been flight, and I have occasionally been frozen in fear. I mean, when a young man drove up our street and fast, he was actually having a heart attack at the time, but nobody knew that. Anyway, he drove his car into a tree outside our house, wrapped the car around the tree. When he did that, we all heard that noise. We all got up. Most of my family were downstairs, heading down the driveway, trying to find out what's going on. I could see from our window over the bank, and I could see the car wrapped around the tree. Yeah. And I was trying to get the words out, and I could see the guy was going to be he's going to be in a bad way. And I just froze with fear. And I couldn't get the words. I was trying to tell my family where to go. It's over there. It's a red car. And all I could go, red. I couldn't get the words out. Yeah. So it depends on the situation, but those are probably my 2 responses so far.
Yeah. Nice. I liked, we have been hearing about, as we looked at the different topics, and I've noticed Elijah has come up over the different topics, but it's really, each person has really shown how Elijah has reacted to those particular things or used that to respond. And so, you talked about Jezebel and Elijah operating in that fear, like being a strong man who's done great things for God and suddenly faced with this situation, responded in fear. Yeah. Can you rehash that for us?
Okay. Elijah, after all the great feats he'd done in his life, and a lot of these are recorded, and they are calling fire down from heaven. There was a lot of things he did. Raised someone from the dead. He allowed people to be blessed with an unlimited supply of food and things like that. So he has this pattern of God is with him and God is for him. When Jezebel gave him the message that she was going to, within 24 hours your life is over, basically what she was trying to say to him, she didn't actually say it face to face. She just sent him a note, a message by a messenger. And when he saw it, the Bible says when he saw it, he ran. And so and she wasn't even in the room. And so the fear is, and this is how fear works. It's just sometimes just the thought of it or the knowledge that this is going to happen to you. All of a sudden, it's something triggers. Now, this man should have known courage and walking in courage, but at this very point, one of the major points about this, at that very moment, he was alone, and he ran. And that was his first mistake. He just ran. He saw what it was, and he ran. That was the turning point, because that's the decision moment. I either run or I get help. He chose to run. So then it carries on. This is actually all based in 1 Kings 19. And so he saw that, and then he went on. He said he went to Bathsheba. He went to Bathsheba with his servant, and he left them there. So the next point is he just ditches responsibility. So when fear comes, we run, and then we ditch responsibility. And he ditches the person he's supposed to be looking after, his servant, and he ditches him there, leaves them there. He got rid of responsibility. He's in flight mode. And then he goes into the wilderness, a day's journey into the wilderness. Now he's isolating himself. So he's got no counsel, he's got no sounding board, he's got no input into his life, he's got no wisdom, he's got no other voice speaking, only his own voice speaking, which is in flight mode, which is based in fear. And that's all he's listening to. And these are the patterns that people do.
Yeah.
They run, get rid of responsibility, isolate themselves, not letting anybody else speak. And then he started to pray that he might die. So now he's got to this place, which is, this is the place where people start making decisions about suicide. This is the place where people start to give up completely.
Yeah.
This is when and he's calling out to God that he may die. He was now in self-pity mode. He's lost vision, he's lost direction, and now he's in a really bad place. And he'd say, Lord, take my life. The funny thing about this, the man who says that, prays that to God, take my life, he never dies. Elijah never dies.
I found that very interesting.
Yeah, so God does not answer all our prayers.
Thank God, too.
Eh?
Yeah.
He doesn't answer all our prayers. So, and then God started to show him another aspect of life. Do you want me to go on?
Well, I just wanted to say, I was thinking about this on Sunday in the preach, and we're talking about fear, and I knew about the isolation part. You fear, and everything becomes huge, and then you step away from everyone and you self-isolate. You start to pull yourself away. But the responsibility, letting go of the responsibility, and I thought that is so interesting, because when you're in a good place, the responsibility has meaning. It's your purpose, gives you something to do, and you can see the vision for people that you're helping. But when you step into fear, and it becomes so big that all of that becomes small, and I don't know what the word is, but it's
we
like
become irrational.
Irrelevant. Yeah, it's it's like, who cares about that? But you don't realize the impacts that it has on the people, and as you talked about on Sunday, on your calling, because those responsibilities are building you up and shaping your character, and giving you new skills sets and things to continue to walk in the footsteps of your calling. But when fear pulls you out of that, that's actually the purpose of fear, to get you away from
destroy your ministry.
Walking in your calling and ministry. And actually, it affects so many people. I had a situation once, like when I was maybe a new Christian, a few years old, something happened, and I just thought, I can't deal with this anymore. And I ran away. I did that whole runaway thing, and I was hiding from God and from the people around me. And then I was saying, God, I give up. I don't want to do this anymore. And then he showed me very clearly, what about the people after you? You're actually helping to make a pathway for others to follow. So if you give up now, what about those behind you?
Yeah.
You know, the people in front of you didn't give up, which is why you're here today. So yeah, stand. And I came back to the where I lived, and came back to God and church, and yeah. So it was like 20 years ago now. Yeah.
It's funny. It's not funny, but it's noting that the fear overrode calling, and so, you know, we cry out for years, or as a new Christian, or at different parts of our life, we cry out, God, tell me what my gifting is, tell me what my calling is, what do you want me to do? And when we're in it, how quickly sometimes we can let it go, thinking somehow we've justified it, that we can just let it go because of this danger. And I noticed, I'll just say it this way, so I've noticed that people get rid of responsibility very flippantly in that situation. And all of a sudden, the call of God on their life, and the painstaking hours of asking people to pray for them, wanting for a prophet to pray for them, getting prophetic words from people to find out what they're supposed to do in life, in a fleeting moment start to reject it, push it away because of fear. And that is a ploy of the enemy.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. I mean, the scripture talks about the enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy, you know? And that's, if you look at the reverse of that, destroy, steal, and kill, you know, it destroys what's going on for you, which then enhances the stealing part of it, you know, and if we're not careful, we can die spiritually, you know. So, yeah, it's all, every part of it impacts the other part.
True.
You know?
And isolation is not just we've walked away from church. Isolation is we start sitting in the back row instead of the front row. Isolation says we stop going to a circle, or we stop going to Alpha instead of being part of that, or we stop going to prayer meetings. Isolation doesn't have to happen in one day. It can be progressive, a pulling away.
Yeah. So that it in itself explains itself. But can you then tell us, when we face something and we want to operate in this, we want to respond like this, what's the best way to do it? Like, what's the
remedy?
Opposite, yeah. What do we do instead?
What we do instead is that we go to people, because the ultimate goal is to destroy you and your ministry and anything legacy you're leaving behind. And so you do the opposite. You go to people. You go to your pastor, your leader. You go to your friends, your intercessors. You go to your prayer group. You go to whatever place it is that you have people that you know and trust. And you surround yourself with people, and you ask them to pray, or you ask them to speak in your life. You make appointments to see people. You don't be embarrassed about it, because it's not like there's an elite few people who do this. This is a human characteristic and a plight of Christians. And so it's not something. How many times in the Bible do we see people in fear or anxiety? It's common, but God has solutions. And for this particular man, Elijah should have surrounded himself with other people, but he thought he was alone. And that was the lie. That was Satan was telling, you're alone, I'm the only one. He thought he was the only one. And that's a lie, see? So you should be surrounding yourself with people, getting the right input. The encounter with God is the solution, though.
Yeah.
So you have people around you who build you up, set you in a place of knowing you're supported. But the freedom from it really comes from what God says to us. Yeah. It's the encounter, and that's what Elijah had in the cave on the mountain. God had all these big things around him. The wind that broke up the rocks, and the fire that came, and the earthquake came. But God, it says in there 3 times, God wasn't in it. God wasn't in it. God wasn't in it. That wasn't about God. Sometimes we want the dramatic, the powerful all the time, but it's not about God. It's that God's not. I'm not in that. I'm not in that. I'm not in that. It's when he heard the voice, that small, still voice on the inside, that gentle voice. And then so when he heard that, things changed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got to get to that place of that moment in that atmosphere where God is. You've got to get back to that place. And people will help you get to that place. Intercessors will lift you up. People will speak wisdom and life and comfort. And you get back to that place where you have an encounter with God. And God says, like he said to Elijah, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
What are you doing here? You're supposed to be going and anointing a king and another king and getting a follower, someone to replace you. That's your next step. That was your path. And what are you doing here in this mountain, in a cave? Why are you wanting to die? Why are you wanting to be isolated? What are you doing here? Was God saying to him. And when he heard that, he said, no, I want you to go and do this, this, and this. And off he went.
Yeah.
Started to go back to the call that was on his life.
So is it fair to say for people who might have found, like, be listening to this and go, I actually realised that I've just done this and I've run away from God and here I am away from him. Is it fair to say, like, for them the steps is to reconnect with God there where you are?
Yes.
And then from there start to go back to fellowship or go back to those strong people, make those phone calls, ask for prayer and start to walk.
I think the order probably isn't that important, but you've got to get back to the place of encountering God. So whether you need people to help you get there, it's still up to us to hear.
Yeah.
And so people can help us to get to that place, or we cry out to God. See, he went to the most powerful place on the planet at that time, and this is where Moses got the 10 Commandments, and Moses spent all that time up on the mountain, and there was thunder and lightning on the mountain. He was there.
Yeah.
He went back to that. He knew that's where God meets people. So he goes back. He goes to that same mountain to meet with God. And so you may have to find, if you can, you meet with God.
Yeah.
In your bedroom, wherever it may be, you build that atmosphere where God speaks to you. Shut out the things of the past. Shut out the things of the day. Put the mantle around your head like Elijah did. Shut out the noise. Shut out everything.
Yeah.
If you can do that, then you'll hear what God's saying. If you can't do that, you go to people who will help you get to that place.
Yeah.
The main reason why fear, even grief, and even things like offences make us isolate is because our connection with God is not based in love. It's based in duty, it's based in relationship loosely, or it's based in my parents, it's based in my church life, it's based in a lot of things. But love, God's love, actually drives out fear. So to have that fear driven out, got to come to a place and allow God to love us. And it's allowing God to love us. We don't have to love him back. That's a result.
Yeah.
But allow him to love us, allow him to nurture us, come to that place. And that's a scary place for some people. That's a place where people who suffer from rejection don't like to go. And so it's a place where we have to surrender. But it's not a place, it's not like I give up. It's a place, love me, God. Show me.
Yeah.
Come to me, nurture me. I stop fighting. I'm going to stop fighting.
Yeah.
And when that happens, God starts to come and he starts to push out the fear.
Yeah. Because perfect love
Casts out.
drives out all fear.
That's right.
And God is perfect love. So as we come to him, and I've experienced that too, where I've had to come and go, okay, this is uncomfortable. This is not something I'm used to. This is very new, but I'm just going to trust that you love me, and I'm going to wait for the revelation to come.
And
I'm
the
just going to stay in it, and stay in it, you know? And so, yeah. Well, that concludes our session for this time. And, we pray that you will get your own revelation from God and be able to share with each other to unpack this further. So thank you, Pastor Chris, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, and God bless.
Bless you.
My name is Adam Jaffa, and I'm the Senior Pastor of Royals Church. And I'm so glad that you joined us today around the Word of God. We believe that the Word of God in itself is powerful, it's energized, and it's effective, and it's reaching right into your heart and right into your home. We can't wait for you to join us again real soon.